Good morning, guys. Daze with Jordan the Lion. I'm not going to give away any secrets, but I'm somewhere in my apartment and I'm not in my bedroom. Can you guess where I'm at? Yeah, we gotta hurry up. Jaw just got sick. He has this really bad habit of eating stuff off the ground. If I turn my head even for a second, I'll look down and I'll see him licking his chops, so I know he's found something, and he just got sick. So we're gonna take him out to the park, get him some sun, get him some playtime, and then I got a really cool place I'm gonna take you guys to today. It's one that so many people drive by every single day in Los Angeles, Hollywood specifically, and nobody really knows anything about. I never knew anything about it, and you know, once again I fell down the rabbit hole. I was reading about one thing and it took me down one thing, and nah. So I'm really excited to go over and check this out. I've seen these before, but I had no idea the history. And once you know what the history is, I think you're really gonna be amazed. So let's get this shower business done. We're gonna head up to the park, have some fun, and eventually I'm gonna make it over to where the 1970s California sound was born. Well, let's see what kind of progress they're making on the laundry room. Now we're getting there. Now look at the parking situation now that the holidays are over. This is more like it. You can actually find places to actually park over here, if you can believe it. There's a helicopter above the Hollywood sign. I'm wondering if somebody scaled the fence again and is up there doing something. If you guys remember, like last week when I was up here and we ended up like hanging out at the top of the overlook where the Hollywood sign, where everybody like takes their pictures and stuff, and I showed you there was a house up there with like a big white wall driveway that went up, and I said that I'd heard that that was Madonna's house. I got confirmation that that was Madonna's house. And even more interesting, that was Bugsy Siegel's house. Now I know he had a house over kind of like in the Holmby Hills, kind of where the Playboy Mansion is, when he was married, but apparently he lived there. That was one of his first places in Hollywood. Right there where that white wall is, that's where Bugsy Siegel's house was. All right, we're done with the park. I'm gonna go ahead and take a walk, and I'm gonna go hit, it's basically right where the Hollywood Bowl is. It's like Highland and Camrose. And the name of the little square community, little block that we're gonna enter is actually called Highland Camrose. So you shouldn't forget it. If you're a Big Lebowski fan, you know the word Camrose from the whole speech about the In-N-Out Burger and where Larry Sellers lives off Camrose. That Camrose is actually in Burbank, but that should be a good memory if you ever come to Hollywood and you ever want to see where this was all happening, where I'm about to take you, and all the history that was there. Highland and Camrose, right by the Hollywood Bowl. Well, today I'm going to start our fun part of the vlog here in the parking lot of the Hollywood Bowl. And there's some pretty interesting things that have happened here. Now, beyond, you know, just the concerts and the history of the Hollywood Bowl itself, there used to be homes here. And at one point, there was a man named Stephen Anthony. And the episode that took place here was actually called The Siege at Fort Anthony. Stephen Anthony in 1964 was actually he was a former Marine who was living in a house here, and eminent domain had booted him from his house. And he decided he was not going to put up with that. So he basically had a 10-week standoff with a shotgun. And challenged the cops and the sheriff for 10 weeks to come and take it. And eventually he was arrested, and because of that episode they went ahead with what they were going to do, which would have been right over in here somewhere. It's kind of hard to tell where it would have been. They raised the house because they were going to, the purpose was that they wanted to actually make a they wanted to make a Hollywood museum. And then they ended up never doing it, and they just turned this into Hollywood Bowl parking. So the Stephen Anthony episode was kind of what this is known for, but also the house that he was living in, that was the first house that Betty Davis lived in when she moved here from New York. So even though it's just an abandoned parking lot now, it was once quite a talked about event in Hollywood in 1964. And then for us film history buffs, the great Betty Davis. Well, this is the start of our expedition today. They have this gate locked, so I'm gonna have to walk in the side. But this is gonna be fun. This one's pretty interesting because where we're at today, it's called the Highland Camrose Bungalows. And there's some serious significance to this little community here, because it's, to my knowledge, I forget, it was either 12 or 16 of these craftsman cottages. Now what's interesting about this is that at one point they were going to demolish this whole little community, this whole little area, because they felt that the Hollywood Bowl needed more parking, and one of the residents here fought tooth and nail to get it saved. And his grounds for getting it saved were that at one point Laurel and Hardy had lived here, at one point Marilyn Monroe had lived here. There was a whole slew of people that they claimed to have lived here, but the ones that make me the most excited, and I'm sorry, as much digging as I was able to do, I couldn't find which house it was, but in a few of these houses, at one point, Linda Ronstadt and J.D. Souther lived together, and their neighbors were Don Henley, Glenn Fry, and Bernie, and they, this is where they credit the California 70s sound as being birthed. Now, like I said, I can't happen to find which one. Nobody seems to really be able to find. From everywhere I've looked, I haven't been able to locate which house it was or which houses. All I could find was that they were roommates or that they were neighbors. And that's kind of what struck up the collaboration between them all. And in one of these houses, and now it's a sheriff's department, that one is. One of these houses is where Witchy Woman was written. Linda Ronstadt at one point actually wrote an article for Rolling Stone magazine talking about the time that they were living here, and said that the members of the Eagles, before they were the Eagles, used to practice inside her part of the house because it was a bigger living area, or bigger living room, where they could practice as a band. And she said the first time that she came home and heard them performing Witchy Woman, she knew right away that it was a hit single and knew that they were going to be huge. So since I can't actually tell you, because I don't know which house it is, I figure the next best thing is just to walk around a little bit. And they have it kind of blockaded off, like a fence behind some of them, so you can kind of tell where the community was and where it ended. But I just thought that was so interesting. As soon as I read it, I was like, well, it's not, I can't give any definitives, but I mean, who here? I mean, I was a big Linda Ronstadt fan as a kid. Not even so much as for her country music or anything, but what I liked about her was she was in Pirates of Penzance with Kevin Kline. And that was, I've told you guys before, that was a play that, or a musical that my aunt used to show me all the time. So who knows? I hate to say it, but this public bathroom right here, this men's room, you guessed it, that could have been it. Could have been it. Now, from everything I understand, you can tell in front, they did make a park out of some of this. And so there was a compromise made where you see all those tables. Their argument was that the Hollywood Bowl had so many people that wanted to picnic before and during the events that people were picnicking on the sidewalk. That was what their complaint was. And so they wanted all this picnic area, which, as you can tell, they've found a solution to. And so right here, there may have been a house here, may not have been, I don't know. But now, all these, other than the sheriff's department being in there, what these are used for now is these are primarily the business offices of the Hollywood Bowl, as well as the LA Philharmonic, or maybe it was the Hollywood Bowl Philharmonic, I forget. Actually, I think it was the LA Philharmonic. I don't recall. It's one of the two. I'm sure as I'm roaming around, I'll probably see a sign that tells me. But I just thought you guys would like to know that. Could have been this house. Could have been any one of these. Now it looks like out of the original 12, I'm only seeing like 6 or 7. So maybe they did get rid of some of them, and maybe they kept the historic ones. But you'd think that they would have put some sort of historic marker or something. I would think. I almost wanted to walk into that women's room because I thought there was a piece of artwork or a sign or something. Maybe I thought it would tell me something about this. I almost want to walk in the sheriff's department and ask them if they know anything. Although, sometimes that's opening a can of worms. I might find out I'm wanted for something I didn't know about. You know what? I'm going to go in and ask them. Well, the sheriffs actually didn't have any answers for me, but they sent me over to the LA Philharmonic offices, and here's what they told me. They said that this was originally a commune, and but before it was a commune, the Marx Brothers had their offices here, and nobody really seems to know which houses it would have been, but they said probably they would guess this red one, which is the sheriff's office. So yeah, so that sheds a little light, because I didn't actually know that this was originally it was like a hippie commune in the late 60s to early 70s. So that would make sense as to why Laurel and Hardy were affiliated, not the commune part, but the with the Marx Brothers having offices here and Laurel and Hardy. That makes sense. That once they were done with it, I guess, you know, like I said, it turned into a commune, and that's when California Sound would have been birthed. Now, since I was over here, I really wanted to show you guys this as well. What this is a pretty ornate Egyptian styled American Legion. And the deal with this American Legion is that, well, since I've lived here, I've never seen them use it really for anything. The only thing that I've really seen them use it for is, well, as you can see up here on the sign, they do Hollywood Bowl parking. People park up that alleyway and whatever, but the reason this has a little bit of significance, and it's the reason that I wanted to show it to you, is because even though in the time that I've lived here, I've seen it used for one concert, which was Iggy Pop, I think literally the year that I moved here in 2000. Other than that, it's really just, I think, a private place that people can rent out. Maybe like a banquet hall type place, but this was actually Gene Autry, Clark Gable, and Ronald Reagan. This was their American Legion that they attended. Or at least that's what they're credited. And I wanted to stop here also just because I thought that cannon was pretty cool. So there you go. I'm reading the wall right now as I'm here, and I'm seeing if I can see any of those names on there. It's kind of hard to tell because I see names that are somewhat familiar, you know, like John B. Carson. I don't know if that's Johnny Carson, who knows? But I'm not seeing a Clark Gable, I'm not seeing any of those names on there, but that's, in the research I found, that's who is credited as. Oh, there's a Robert Skelton. That might have been Red Skelton. I don't know. I wish I knew more of these names. I guess they gave up on hiring sign spinners now, and they just put mannequins out there. That's cool. Well, I just got home and had a package waiting at my door from Vinny Roth. And I know exactly what this is, and thank you, Vinny, for sending this. This is not a gift to me. This is actually going to be part of the vlog here in the next couple of days. You just attacked me. Just so everybody saw it, you attacked me first. I was sitting here not bugging anybody, and all of a sudden, you went after my hand. So I'm gonna go after yours. Give me that hand. Give me that hand. Give me that hand. Actually, let me rub that belly. Let me rub that belly. Let me rub that belly. Who's daddy's buddy? Are you my buddy? Yeah. Give me that hand. Give me that hand. Give me that hand. You're supposed to fight. You're not supposed to be licking me. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed that little trip. I mean, it was like, that's such a weird place to go to. I know that probably nobody else will ever know or would not have known or found that that ever happened there or that existed. Because there just aren't a lot of people doing, I feel like, some of the lesser known things. It's really easy to do a really popular movie or a really well-known site and gain attention that way. And sometimes I feel like whatever I'm going to do that day, I know I'll have like a solid base of you guys that will watch it no matter what I put up. And I really appreciate that because I don't know any other vloggers. I'm not lucky enough to be one of those people who has a famous friend who's a popular vlogger that I can make appearances on their vlog. And so whenever I do anything, I just get 10,000 followers right away. I don't have any friends that are vloggers. And in fact, when I started doing this, and I tried to get some of the people who I was friends with in the comedy scene, just told them why I was going to do it, what I thought I could get out of it. They all had zero interest. I mean, even when I said how I thought it could help them if they did one themselves or they did something, they were just old school and they thought it was a stupid idea. And I think in their minds, because of hearing the jokes I've heard them tell, they just think YouTubers are like people that sit around and fart into a cheerleader's megaphone and post it online, and they call that comedy. And that's not at all what I'm doing. I'm doing something that's probably not as accessible to everybody else, and really all I have is my own self-motivation and your guys' comments and your guys' views. That's really honestly the only thing that keeps me going. And when I go to a place like the Valley Relics Museum, and it's a lot of really odd stuff that most people, you know, that watch my channel are not from California, and they're not from Los Angeles or the San Fernando Valley, so they don't know where any of that stuff is, what it is. Some people may not even know what the San Fernando Valley is. And I appreciate that you guys trust me enough to know that whatever I feel is good enough to be the vlog that day, for the most part, you guys are willing to watch. And like I said, I really appreciate it because I don't have anything else to go on, and just word of mouth from you guys. So I really, really, really thank you guys for always sharing the word, passing it on to other people. I mean, I see Andrew Jacobs was on a podcast the other day and went on like a 5-minute description of what my vlog is and was recommending it to everybody that listened to that podcast. So I really appreciate that kind of stuff. And hopefully it'll just keep growing. That's all I can say is that as long as you guys are watching, I'm going to keep doing it. And the day that you start seeing vlogs not happen, you'll probably want to call the police and file a missing persons report because I'm probably not alive anymore. But I have a lot of great vlogs coming up. Like I've told you guys before, I have so many great ideas for vlogs that I want to do that I will set my mind on like Sunday what I'm going to do that week, and it will change day to day because I'll find out some other place that's awesome or something else that I want to do, or just like I just get too excited about some of the places that I feel like I'm going to get to see, and you guys make it worth it. So thank you very much, Lionhearts. My love goes out to you. From Hollywood, California, good night.